Good morning. This is Roger Harenchuk. I'm doing this video so that I can get my point across to WorkSafe BC or workers' advisors. If I have to appeal, this is the best way I think I can possibly explain myself. Today is March 6, 2015, and I just want to show you the incident reports due to my injury. This is the first one that happened in 2010. This is the 125-36506 claim. And this is the incident report and the description of the incident report. And as you can see right here, you will see it. Just trying to focus in a bit here. As you can see, I slipped on a wet driveway. Okay. Now, I got sent back to work, and they put it down as an aggravation to hardware sprain, strain, tear. But yet every doctor I've seen says the hardware is fine and solid and everything. But yet I was still in serious pain. Now, I went back to work, returned back to work in 2011. And I re-injured it by, I crushed my wrist against a 40-foot ladder, a 36-foot ladder and a railing. So my wrist got caught between the ladder and the railing as the ladder started to slide. Now this is the other incident report that happened on this claim. The 167-16816 claim. Now, because it was a return to work and I got injured again going back to work, this would be considered the new claim, which would be the short-term claim, because the 125 was the long-term. So as you can see on this one here, I hurt myself against the ladder and the railing. I crushed my wrist. And once again, it's the same thing. I went for x-rays. And x-rays, basically, Dr. Kelly told me that, it was a sprain, strain, tear. So basically, it got accepted for that. But because there was two claims, the 125 and the 167, I couldn't get wage loss benefits. So as I told you guys before, they had to manipulate the system to put the 167 down as a no fault, no liability, and as a reoccurrence of the 125 claim, this one here, so that my long-term wage rate would kick in and I would start getting payments. So basically from there on, I was in pain and I was going downhill. Now, the thing I don't understand about all this is that now I'm having problems with my wrist, and now it's a distal radius ulnar joint destabilized. So all along, basically, these injuries, this injury here, the slip and fall on the driveway, from what I get from Dr. French's report dated January 28, 2015, basically, he says that when I injured myself, I basically destabilized my distal radius ulnar joint because I have a total wrist fusion. So that means I have a steel rod that comes down from the top of the hand to over the wrist and bolted onto the distal radius. I'll show you right now, actually. There it is right there. So if you look, right, that's my hand, okay? Now the distal radius ulnar joint is right in the middle of the wrist. So, and that's where my pain was. So he thinks because of that, it was deteriorating. No one picked it up all along, and my wrist has been deteriorated and everything. And so now it's to the point where now I got to see a doctor called Dr. Gotts for a surgery to either shorten my ulnar bone or basically see if he can fix something in there. But it looks like it's going to have to be something like that. And that's even if they can do it, because of I got serious arthritis in there and everything on top of the ulnar bone and in the middle, because my cartilage in between the ulnar bone and the distal bone is basically worn down and it's clicking on, the both bones are clicking, basically. So that's where all my pain's been coming from. Now, because in 2013, Dr. Patel, the man who did my total wrist fusion in 2005, he thought it was a screw that was sticking out on the top of the plate. Now, he requested a surgery to be done. The surgery was done in 2013. Was it 2000? No, it was 2014. He did the surgery February of 2014. And basically, he took the screw out. And there was no change. There was no nothing. I was still in pain, and it went on and it went on, and then finally I went and seen my doctor, Dr. Henstock. He is my family physician. Basically, I went and seen him, and I told him, I said, "Hey, man, there's bones moving in my wrist," and he says, "Well." He goes, "You know, Roger," he goes, "you'll probably have to go see Dr. Patel, and I think it's your distal radius ulnar joint." Okay, fine. So I go back and I see Dr. Patel. Now this is November 25th, 2014. So I go see Dr. Patel. Dr. Patel tells me, he says, "Yeah, your distal radius ulnar joint is unstable." Okay. So now what? So he goes, "Well, I'm going to refer you to the WorkSafe BC to see if they can get their specialist to look at you." So he does his referral. I go see a guy, Dr. French, and he basically tells me, it's because of this slip and fall. When you fell on that wet driveway, this injury here in 2010, your wrist couldn't absorb the impact of the fall because your wrist was totally fused. So your distal radius ulnar joint destabilized because it absorbed all the impact of the slip and fall on the driveway when your hand went out and you fell on it. So it sort of made a bit of sense to me, right? Because every doctor told me, "Oh, the hardware's solid, it's intact, there's nothing wrong with it. You could be getting your pain from this, you could be getting your pain from maybe you tore a muscle, a tendon, or something like that. You got to build it up. You got to put that hand to use and everything." Now, all these years, I've listened to those doctors. I've done that. But I was in serious pain when I was doing those. You got to remember, I got put in a program called the Orion Health Program. It was like 3 months long. It was intense physio. Okay, they pushed me so hard in that program, I ended up dislocating my other hand, my right hand. I dislocated a finger in that hand, right? So that program was done and everything. So now Dr. French is telling me, he says, "Yeah," he goes, "Yeah, you had a distal radius ulnar joint destabilized. And all you've been doing is wrecking it by going to physio, to these programs and everything, because no one picked it up." So I'm thinking in my head, okay, so how do I appeal this? Well, you know what? I can appeal it. I can't appeal it. For some reason, I can't, because every time I call WorkSafe BC and I ask them, "Well, can I appeal this?" And they said, "No, you've already been denied." Because I appealed them already. And they said, "No, due to your employment ability assessment that was done on you, you were fit and capable of being a light duty cleaner." But yet, I had a distal radius ulnar joint destabilized. So basically, how can I do that? How can I be a light duty cleaner if I'm still injured? So I'm thinking in my head, I'm thinking, so what do I do then? I can't appeal it because I've already been denied. And they're not going to look at it again because I've already been denied. But because no one picked it up, no doctor, no nothing, every doctor told me, they said, yeah, it could be an irritation to the hardware, it could be an aggravation to the hardware, it could be a sprain, strain, tear, yeah, you might have tore some muscles or this and that. No one focused on the distal radius ulnar joint. And the proof is because I went and seen Dr. Patel February 26, 2015. And this is his letter right here. I don't know, can you see it? Yeah. This is his letter. Right? Dr. Patel. Do you see that letter? Yeah, right there. And he says in here that he agrees with Dr. French and all them, right? And he basically says that he agrees that it is the fall of 2010 that caused the injury. And he basically agrees that he's basically telling me from what my wife read to me in this letter is that when he was doing my examinations all along from 2010, whenever I went and seen him because of the pain and everything, he never focused on that area. Yeah. No doctor focused on that area. And none of these doctors did any distal radius ulnar joint compression tests with me to figure that out. Because of why? Because I have a total wrist fusion. Now, the thing I don't understand is that if you look at most of these doctors' reports from specialists and doctors and everything, they're short, simple, one-page reports. The only ones that ever did anything more than 2 pages was Dr. Gotts and Dr. French. Now, if Dr. Patel is telling me that, oh, I never focused on this area, well, how can you not focus on that area? I have a total wrist fusion. The plate goes right over the distal radius ulnar joint. I don't understand that. No one focused on it or nothing. Dr. Pashue never focused on it. You know what Dr. Pashue said in his doctor's report? I can't understand this man's pain. The total wrist fusion is solid. Everything looks good. This man is fit to do two-handed work. I sat in his chair for 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes, and that's what he said to me. And he said, "Okay, bye." Yeah, I'm shaking my head now because now I have to stand here and figure this out, and I don't know how because I've already put appeals in on most of this stuff. So how does a person like me figure this out? I call them, they say, no, you can't appeal it because you've already appealed it and got denied. Yeah, I've been denied though, but it's this medical information here that supports why I couldn't work, that supports the employmentability assessment that was made on me wasn't fit for me because I was still injured. It also supports that me going to these physio programs all the way through, and this Orion Health physio that dislocated my other hand, these programs, if anything, they've worsened my injury to the point now where you guys accepted it as a deterioration to a compensatable condition. Now, in my eyes, and I ask everybody I know, and I look on the internet and everything, I always thought a deterioration in a condition means it takes time. It takes time for that to deteriorate to the point where I have to go for surgery. Right? It's medical facts that state that. But yet, none of these